But why would you sound like that? Okay. Hey y'all. We're here with a more chill week. I'm HT Paladin, and I am not your DM this week. I'm just one person of five doing a nice little talk between players and castmates.
Not me being confused because there's 6 Zoom windows that I see, and I'm like, what do you mean 5 people?
I hate this.
The 6th person she's referring to is our wonderful producer, Big B. But
Big B's hand.
Big B's hand. But I am HTT Paladin. Let's go around and say hi to our other Q&A people. Let's go to Lucia. Hi, Lucia.
Hi, it is I, Lucia, otherwise known as Searsword. Yeah, normally I'm playing Gaita, the ever more emotional Lola of this group, but tonight I'm talking about her and all of her emotional baggage as a Lola. So that's me. Latia.
Hi, I'm Latia, and I am your DM for this evening.
Cool.
No,
yeah.
No. At least not tonight. But normally I play Pilar, everyone's favorite Mangangaya Balete Elf Ranger, who is a buff lady with a spear. I've done it again.
Yes, you have.
Well, you know what? No. The realization came after I made Pilar. So, like the realization has been coming on for a while, and every character I've made since Pilar has not been a buff lady with a spear. So, yeah, I play buff ladies with spears who are emotionally unavailable.
This is true.
Just like me. CB, say something.
Hi, my name is CB, also known as the Critical Bard, and I'm struggling. There we go. Success.
CB.
And today I am not Manalo, the Umala god, grave robber rogue, maiden of blood warlock. I am a man who dreams of being alfalfa from the Little Rascals.
It's staying though.
Look, because I got grip itch. I'm gonna throw it over to Josh.
Hello, that is me. My name is Joshua M. Simons on most places. I typically play Da'ai, the lovable gold gnome Babylon, with his companion Hari, the little bird. I just blanked on that word for a moment. That was great. Yeah, that's me. We do stuff. Paladin?
Yeah, hi. Again, normally I'm your DM of the week, but I don't really play a character, so I can't really talk much on that.
You play like all the characters. You play so many characters.
Yeah, everyone else.
Yeah, everyone else. And I'm just happy to be here. I do believe we still have sponsors to thank for sponsoring us to be here. Josh, take it away, and please horrify us as usual.
Okay, I got you. This
Great.
one is gonna require some clutch Foley work. Just bear with me as I do my Foley work here. Hello, and welcome to Radio Tampo Theater. Today, I'll be performing an artistic reinterpretation of the critically acclaimed 1979 film, Being There. This production has been brought to you by Hit Point Press. Chance was a simple man, a gardener, in fact. Living within the exquisite home of his wealthy benefactor, he's never needed to know anything else, except, of course, what he's seen on the television. It was his favorite hobby, you see, aside from gardening, which was more of a job for Chance. However, Chance's life was upended suddenly when the owner of the mansion passed away. Thoughts of what to do and where to go raced through his mind when Chance passed the exterior of a TV store while walking through the streets of Washington, D.C. One television caught his attention in particular, as it had footage of a man dressed much like Chance, standing on a street, much like the one he stood on. As he leaned in closer to look, the man on the television leaned in closer as well. Chance raised his hand and watched in surprise as the gentleman on the TV followed suit. Shocked at the revelation that he could be on television too, he took a step backwards, stumbling as his foot hit the curb. At that very moment, as he could feel himself falling out onto the street, a fancy car happened to be driving by, grazing him as it passed. Chance sat up on the ground, hearing voices as the woman from the car and her driver spoke to one another. She called out, "Check on him," as the driver rushed over. He seemed to be in a daze as the driver helped him into the back of the vehicle, where he was greeted by a lovely woman in a nice dress. She introduced herself as Eve and asked, "Are you all right?" "I don't know." Chance paused, seeming unsure of himself. "What is your name?" she asked. Chance began to respond, to tell her that he was Chance, the gardener, but was interrupted by a terrible coughing fit as he began to speak. "Well, it's nice to meet you, Chauncey Gardner. You must come home with me so that you can recover," she insisted, "and you'll be able to speak with my husband, too." He must have looked concerned and bewildered because she placed a comforting hand on his arm and assured him not to worry as the driver began to take the car back to the estate. Inside the home, as Chance waited in the sitting room, adjusting his suit coat, he could overhear Eve and her husband Ben speaking in hushed tones, asking if he wished to sue them. Chance wasn't certain what exactly that meant, but he knew they intended him no harm. Standing as Ben and Eve entered the room, he shook Ben's hand, while Eve introduced him as Chauncey Gardner. Ben's eyes immediately went to the suit Chance wore, noticing that it was quite expensive, if a little outdated. "You must be quite the fortunate man to be wearing a suit like this on such a stormy night as tonight." Ben started, looking him up and down, saying, "I'm Ben Rand. Say, what do you think of Hit Point Press, the TTRPG store?" Chance was a little taken aback by this question. He'd heard of Hit Point Press while watching the television, but hadn't understood what it was or why it was important. "I don't know," he replied. "Well, haven't you played any tabletop games before?" Ben asked, glancing at Eve in a moment of confusion. "I suppose not," said Chance, looking curious. Ben stood up suddenly, clapping a hand on Chance's shoulder. Not to worry. We'll get that taken care of right quick, but in the meantime, you're welcome to stay here for as long as you'd like. Eve, have one of the maids make up the guest bedroom for Chauncey while he's with us." As Eve left the room, Ben turned back, putting an arm around Chance's shoulder, conspiratorially. "Are you certain you haven't heard anything about it before?" "Heck nah. Griffin's Saddlebag, the islands of Sinauna, the deck of many." Feeling obligated to reply with something, Chance answered with an analogy from his garden. "When the seed has been planted, if you water it, it will grow." Ben nodded sagely before clapping Chance on the shoulder. "Good man. I could tell you were a man of class. And if you need any supplements or resources for your D&D 5e game, the Hit Point Press store has you covered." Ben poured 2 glasses of whiskey, offering one to Chance and lifting his own as he proposed a toast. "To Hit Point Press. Follow our affiliate link in chat to get a discount on any purchase in the store." And see.
When you asked for movies from 1979, I really should have suggested The Bitch.
I want you to know I wrote this last night. I just wanted to know if any of y'all knew this movie before I did it. Because it's one of my favorite movies of all time that I have absolutely butchered.
Amazing. Amazing.
Hate that.
I did not know where that was going.
Every week it's something.
Every week is, Ed, that's it. Every week it's something.
Every week it's something, yeah. Put that in your Twitter bio, Josh.
I got you. Every week it's something.
Every week it's something.
It's true.
Do we have any other sponsors to thank this week?
We do. We have. Are you fucking kidding me? Sorry.
I've
I'm
never
not,
heard of
I'm
them.
that's
not
a new
aware
one.
of. I'm not aware of them. How are they sponsoring us?
Holy shit! What do they fucking sell?
We have arcane spectacles. And I was filling my bardic spirit, so I wrote them a rap, literally right now.
Oh
It's not good, but it's cute. So we got a little. Arcane Spectacles is the place to be, keeping track of all the spells for you and me. If you need a vault for a dice or two, come to Arcane Spectacles. Yo, we got you. Dice sets galore. Grab every D6 at Arcane Spectacles. You can get your fix. It might not be June, but we play with pride. You can get your queer merch and more on this side. Don't know what you want for friends? Well, it won't be hard. Just send them to the store with a nice gift card. There's so much more for your eyes to see. Just go to Arcane Spectacles. I'm done. Peace. That's it.
Amazing. Save Regal would be proud.
That's it.
Yeah.
We also are friends with Idol Champions. Idol Champions is a place where you can be a champion even if you're idle. The code today to get an Electrum chest is. I'm not saying that out loud.
I've been looking at that code this entire time. The entire time I've been looking at. You could say it as puke, but
yes.
there is another way to say it.
No,
a forbidden way.
There is no other way to say that. It is cuke.
It is on the screen above me, and it is in chat. It will get you an Electrum chest in game. Use once. The game has many cool people in it, such as Dahani coming soon, and lots of other people. Check it out. That's that.
What a fucking cursed code.
Thanks, Rock Punch, for letting us exist. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rock Punch.
Oh, okay, that's sad. Please play the video. I need to compose myself. Okay. Yeah, I've never done one of these before. So hi, my name is HTD Paladin. I was co-director for the Islands of Sina Una. And Lucia, I arranged my Zoom window so I can do this properly. Lucia was and is the main director of the Islands of Sina Una.
That is correct.
It is shipping out soon. From all across to a lot of places around the world. I don't know where Latia went. I hope to get her hardcover copy. But yeah, it's shipping out soon. It's going to reach to people. It's if you're new here, it is a book devoted to presenting pre-colonial Filipino culture and mythology for 5th edition D&D.
Tonight, the role of me will be played by the Islands of Sina Una.
No fair.
We gotta go.
Wait, no fair.
We gotta go. We gotta run. We gotta run.
Wait,
we gotta go.
Are we doing this now?
Oh God, mine's on the futon.
That's not fair because the role of me will also be played by the Islands of Sina Una.
The Islands of Sina Una will also be playing HTT Paladin. Goodbye.
Am I the only one here because mine is like locked in a safe right now?
Why?
Because
You gotta
I don't
protect
want-
that shit. It's so valuable.
I don't want anything to touch it.
It's so valuable. You got to protect it with all the money.
All right. I'm gonna start this off. With a question.
Sure.
Which
But before we do that,
Okay.
so not to cut anybody off.
no,
So
go for it.
How this is going to work is Paladin might ask us questions. We might ask each other questions, but you also, as a community, can ask questions as well. Just
Heck yeah.
formulate your question with question first.
Please
so we
formulate your
see it.
question in the form of a question.
Whatever, and I'm just making that up. So make sure you say questions so we can actually grab it. And if we don't get to your question, we apologize.
We got a question from Critical Bard.
No, you mispronounced it. It's this.
You're welcome. And the answer to that is
In response to that, honestly,
I see.
are you doing what's that one city that Latia you can say? It's like yes, I'll go or whatever.
Oh,
so you knew it from that. You knew it from the last part. Because that's all I know. Go.
I hate how that the premise of that question was, what's that one city you can pronounce?
Yeah, hold on, because I haven't said it in a while, so I don't remember, but I have video of myself saying it.
It's that forbidden that you need to.
No,
That's some arcane shit.
It's the Welsh city with a long name.
That narrows it down. That really narrows it down. Thank you.
Shush. Hold on.
God. I guess to start off with actual questions, are y'all enjoying the campaign so far?
I hate everything about you.
All right, goodbye.
I am enjoying the campaign because I get to spend time with friends.
Oh.
Clanfire go.
That's what you love about the campaign?
The word!
Go.
Go.
I just fucking collapsed into a singularity.
Yes, I am enjoying the campaign so far. I love pain. I love it.
It's actually very interesting because there is very much a different vibe this season than last season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool to kind of play both of those sides. But yes, very much enjoying what's happening and some of the choices we have made thus far. Right. What about you, Lucia? As somebody who helped write it, how does it feel to be playing in the space and still discovering it as you play?
Man, it's weird because there's some stuff that'll come up and I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember reading that 6 times over so that I could put art to that piece. And then there's some stuff where I'm like, I don't think that that's in there. So I'll be like, meta knowledge. I know what this is, but I do not. So that's always fun. I will say, I think that Paladin gets a sort of reputation about him that it's very scary, I guess, to have him as the DM. But personally, like, it's kind of cathartic for me, at least, because we worked on this book, for him to throw things at me that I don't like, and for me to actively go, yeah, I'm gonna fuck that up. On purpose.
I also just love the shock or the faux-ness of that shock coming from Paladin as he hears that he is a scary DM. It's you're a scary DM and I'm gay. These things are just known. Let's be dead ass.
Can one of you put it into proper like phrasing for me? Because like am I a scary person online or just in game? Because the only description I have from someone is just that like I use periods on Twitter and therefore I'm scary.
No. Here's the blunt truth. You're not scary. You're not scary at all online.
Okay.
You're an evil DM. But you're an evil DM in the sense that a lot of DM, and it's actually something that's kind of admirable in the sense that I like realism sometimes, and there are DMs who will pull back to like protect the party or who won't really go there for the sake of letting it be a better story. And their idea of a better story is letting the heroes win or letting the heroes have that moment of whatever. And you say, no, the stakes are here. This is what it is. You may not like it, but that's what it is. What do you do? And to a lot of people, that is evil. That's all.
Okay, fair. We got a question from the audience. Can each of you turn to your favorite page in your copy of the Islands of Sina Una? Lucia cannot. Show it off and tell us why it's your favorite page.
Yes.
Yeah, since I'm using a green screen, Josh, can you pull up a page for me?
Absolutely. What page would you like?
Oh my gosh. Could you please pull up page 264? Just that full spread.
Oh.
Okie dokie.
I want to know what it is.
Coming up.
Yep.
Page
Page 264 and 265.
Okay.
So that is the layout for the lore and stat block for a giant called Buran Cantata. One-eyed Buran Cantata has surrounded his home with the fineries of life. His walls are covered with fine textiles that reach up to the sky. Trees unseen anywhere else in the world are laid intricately as centerpieces on his table, but his clothes are what attracts the greediest of mortals to seek out his home. Buran Cantata is believed to dress himself up with all the fineries of a Raha, and if this is true, then his jewelry box must be a literal mountain of gold. It's legitimately one of the scariest things that Mackenzie Lane de Armas designed for the book, and I wanted to give it just the most imposing layout possible. And
I can beat it. I'm kidding.
Because I'm an asshole, I had this whole big scary layout, all the kind of black ink splash marks, and the next page shows like the friendliest new Disney Channel star.
Pretty.
It's like the friendliest art for one of the scariest things. It's a CR19 giant.
He's gonna eat you,
Who
but
can
he'll be really happy about it.
Who can remove your spell slots, and I gave him the scariest layout possible for the friendliest Disney star coming this August.
Oh, friendly to Disney star
Coming this August.
Coming this August, yes. Specifically next year. We have to prep.
My favorite page is technically, if it has a page number, I would assume it does. Yes, 162 and 163, which are the art for the. Hold on, I need to turn off. Y'all gonna see my nasty background. I apologize.
Gas.
It's not nasty. It's just. Oh, what? Sorry. Where'd
you go?
Sorry. There we go. That's not bad.
Sorry, Bigby.
Which is the Babylon, I believe. I would assume that's the Babylon in the Headhunter subclasses. I mean, in classes. I just think they're fucking lit. And it shows you exactly what to expect from the class with one picture. Like with the Babylon, there's a sense of wonder and you know there's a connection with whatever the spirit is, and you know that that's going to be very important to the character. Whereas a headhunter, you know shit's about to go down. You know they have a mission, and you know they're not going to stop their mission until they are literally putting you into the ground. And they're still looking at you once they do so. You can tell there's a lot of gravity to the headhunter. So I like this pages. That's me. Back to my normal.
That headhunter art actually, I think, is like one of the most complicated pieces that Lucia had to get.
Yep.
If I'm remembering right, Lucia, you like tried some different poses, and then the final like reference piece you sent over to the artist was like you standing on a mirror looking down, holding a sword.
Yeah.
That story.
One part of being an art director is especially for working with paladins specifically.
I'm so sorry.
Is oftentimes there's like a vibe that you want to capture for a piece, and the headhunter in particular had a really specific image in my head that I was trying to communicate with our artist, and there was a couple of iterations where it just wasn't happening. until eventually I asked my brother, who was staying with me at the time, if he could just take my picture. So I took a mirror off my wall, put it on the floor. I stood over it with I think like a tube of wrapping paper for the spear, and I put a teddy bear on the other side, and I drew a little arrow, and I was like, this is the dead guy. This is the headhunter. This is the spear. And the artist was like, oh, I get it. So that was a fun one. It's always fun to be like, hey, is it okay if I send you a picture of me in my pajamas as a professional?
Look, these are my professional pajamas.
Exactly.
Mine is it's a tie actually. So my tie is very similar to Mac's tie in chat. This is freaking Tambano Kano, who is the big crab celestial eater. And this is just like, so no, that's the wrong pinky. So this right here, is this a Balangai or a Karakoa?
Karakoa.
This is a Karakoa. This is what it would be like if we were sailing in Tambano Kano's seas. This is my Karakoa, and this is how big Tambano Kano is. And I don't fuck with that at all. It's a tie between this spread and Arimanga, who is my favorite celestial eater, because he's exactly what he is. He's a big cat who don't want to be bothered with nobody.
Yeah, like all the other celestial eaters are like there as big risks and threats and imposing figures. And the story of Arimanga is this: there's this big cat. He plays in the mountains. One time he ate the sun by accident, and then he spat it back up, and then he ran away.
The sun is his yarn ball.
That's some lore right there. I'm really tempted to say the table of contents because I use that every time I open the book, but it's actually this. They're not on the same page, but it's the pictures of the food.
Yes,
I like the pictures of the food.
Not this.
They make the food look so good.
Look at that. It looks so good. And then you're like, oh, wait. More food. More food. So that's it for me. I just like the pictures of the food. But also it describes food, and it's very it makes you hungry.
It describes food.
The first season, when Paladin started describing all the food to us, it was like, we were so hungry because it sounded so good.
Yeah, honestly, like something I really, really like doing in my games, and Tia, you know this personally.
Yeah,
is I like presenting ways to kind of like immerse people via just like some measure of pain, and one of those measures is just food that you wish you had. I really like describing food, and running scene and describing food is easier because of that section.
Food we wish we had, as opposed to the other game I played with you, where you had a table of some 600 alcoholic beverages.
I still have it, by the way.
I mean, I know you still have it, and it just doesn't have a place in this game. But I want you to know that at any given point, Paladin has a table of some 600 alcoholic beverages, some of which with magical properties. And he will use it.
I want you to know that number 420 is called Slippity Dippity.
Okay, but what does it do?
You can find out later if you play a home game with me.
Okay.
We had another question. Were there any character concepts or iterations you went through before settling on your PCs for the season? What other classes, sub-races/races would you want to play in the setting?
Well, I'll go first. I know the answer to this question. I play tested the Way of Kalulua Monk in prior to the book's release, and I thought about playing not a buff lady with a spear.
And what happened?
I played a buff lady with a spear. What it was I hadn't played a ranger in so long. Like it's been almost a year, 2 years maybe since I've played a ranger. And yeah, that was why I decided to play Pilar, because I wanted to be a ranger, but because I already have a monk, I already have Dahani. And I know that they're different, but so yeah, if I wasn't Pilar this campaign, I would have been way, well, probably still Pilar, but she would have been a way of Kalulu Monk.
That's fair. I definitely thought about playing a wizard because wizards are like my go-to class. Like, just I play wizards and bards, if I'm being real with you. And so I chose not to because we had a wizard last season, and so I was like, I don't want to like double up on classes when also we needed someone who could have some kind of like a healing capacity as the party was coming together. And I was like, okay, well, I probably shouldn't do a wizard. And like, Babylon is like, it's like iconic to the Islands of Sina Una, I feel like. And so I felt like we should have a Babylon in the party. And then I came with this idea of like a grandpa, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And he's going to be this really old Babylon. And it worked out. It worked out pretty well, I feel like.
I want to piggyback because he said, I didn't play a wizard because we had a wizard last season, as if we didn't have a Babylon last season.
But there's multiple subclasses.
I know. It just cracks me up. I was like, this is Talarak Erasure and we won't have
do you want to go?
Oh my God. An epic battle between Da'ai versus Talarak. I do not know the answer to that fight. I don't.
I think
I think I do know the answer, but I'm not going to say it out loud.
I'm going to say this. This is a joke answer. I'm going to say this because we know Talarak and his Abayan. Da'ai would win just because Bayani wouldn't stop staring.
That would be it. Is I just got to distract Bayani in a staring contest, and it'll be fine. I
honestly think, based off what we have been given for these characters, what has been clear, not adding anything new to canon. Yeah, the eye has his Call Lightning, but we saw Talarak go a lot farther with actually like the willingness. He rode a dang eagle into the air and got dropped.
He sure did.
So
Talarak wins on bravery.
I forgot I did that to you.
I didn't.
It was one of the best parts of last season because
I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead.
You thought he was dead, but we weren't out of it wasn't your turn in initiative, and you were like coughing and wheezing or something. You were like, hold on a second, we're still in initiative.
Yeah, I would do something right now, but it's not my turn.
Actually, speaking person as a DM, people have all the different methods of like generating hit points. I always tell people, just take max. I'm gonna hit you.
Yeah.
And that's how I justify not showing away from violence.
Yeah, he just makes sure that we can take it.
To answer the question for me, technically, no, I was looking at Warlock for a bit, and I was looking at Headhunter for a bit, just because I just really like the idea of Headhunter, and I want to play one. But I also play tested the Babylon, and I play tested the Grave Robber Rogue separately. Both Talarak and Manala were playtest characters. And I knew come season 2, before we even said we were changing characters, I had said I'm probably going to retire Talarak and play Manala. And I can take credit, and I'm mad about it. I can take credit as being partially the reason of some of the changes to these characters. The reason why these spirits can't touch people, because Talarak wanted to ride Bayani, and they wouldn't let me because they evil. But it's cool. I'm not mad. Also, intimidation. Sorry. Oh, sorry. That's a little backstory. And can I say it? Can I say the playtest?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I don't
Good.
give a fuck.
In the playtest, the Aswang lineage, which is his background, which we haven't really touched much on in this campaign yet, but he does have Aswang lineage, which means someone that he's descended from. It wasn't Aswang, and Aswang touched something of the nature. And they used to have a not an ability, but basically they had advantage on any check made to terrify someone. And intimidation is almost based in trying to terrify someone or to unsettle them. So he basically always had advantage on intimidation. And when you always have advantage on a skill, you automatically get a +5 for their passive for that skill. So I was like, yeah, Manalo has a passive intimidation of like 25 or something like that. I was like, just know that. Just go up front. This is the thing. And they were like, we can't have that. This can't be a thing.
Absolutely the fuck not. No.
Lord.
What about you, Lucia?
Well, I think my main thing when I was making Gaita was I wanted to play something that nobody had played last season. Just because I thought it was, a good opportunity to show off the different classes and whatnot. But I knew from the get-go I was probably going to be playing a kind of older lady, mostly because if you have the book or the PDF, I dedicate it to my mom and her mom, just because like that side of my culture is very tied to like the matriarch. And most of my memories of like being Filipino and like having those traits that like, I guess, prove that you've lived it had a lot to do with like my Lola and my Lola's friends. So I kind of wanted to play that because that's where like a lot of the heart came from for me. And ultimately I settled on Barbarian because I thought it would be funny that just like this old ass lady is out here taking out people. And also I thought about it and I was like, this was probably a good choice considering that this is my first game with Paladin, and I knew that I was going to be absolutely reckless in it, and I needed to be able to take a hit. So I was like, we'll go for a Barbarian so I can have really good health. And that was Gaito.
Can I actually tangent us right here really quickly before moving on to the next question? Just
Please.
to talk about like, so Lucia's playing an old character, right? And I'm playing an old character. And like how that came about was I was like, hey, Paladin, I've got this idea to play like a grandpa. And Paladin was like, I think Lucia's doing something like an old character too. You should talk and like make sure that like, y'all like figure that out, And so I like messaged Lucia. I was like, hey, I hear you're playing like an old lady. I'm playing an old man. Do you want to like be family?
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, well, what's the relationship going to be? And I was like, I don't know.
No kiss.
Hey,
We just found
None of that.
Gaita's husband.
I want it.
but it was just really funny how that came about. And so we like spent like hours on a Zoom call. Like, okay, wait, what's the family dynamic look like? How are they related? Who married who? What are all these like embarrassing moments from like the past as the kids were getting like married? And it was a great time. It was a great time.
Yeah.
That's all. I just wanted to tangent there. Feel free to add stuff, Lucia.
Sorry, go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was definitely like I was kind of nervous coming in because I love Mackenzie and it was like not having her for the second season. I was sad, but I was also like, oh, but I get to be in. And it kind of like solidified just like it was weird because Josh and I had never really spoken like super long or intimately. And then like having that conversation and immediately like tying ourselves by our kids' marriage in game was very like, oh, I feel like I'm really part of the group. It's kind of funny that we're gonna be like pissed off at each other all the time. But it was cool. It was kind of like a weird initiation that I had with Josh, and that's why we're like really good friends now. So that was cool.
I wanted to ask, being the only melanin deficient person here, Josh, how has it felt like stepping into a culture that's like 1000% not your own? And even though, yes, Latia and I also have done that, but there's a different light, quite literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, how has that been for you?
It's been a really cool thing. I feel like, especially leading up to season 1, I spent so much time like asking questions of Paladin, like, hey, what about this? What about that? Tell me about this thing. What about that thing? Like just how much do I need to know? Because I didn't want to come in and, like just show my ass and like do something that would immediately make it clear that I'm not, meshing well with the setting. And so kind of going into campaign 1, I was really concerned about that. I feel like going into this campaign, I've felt a lot better about my understanding of the setting. But it also helps that 3 of my closest friends are Paladin, Mackenzie, and Lucia. And so I can just be like, hey, I got a question about the world. And I got answers. So, but I ask a lot of questions, right? Like, as we were doing character creation, I saw Mackenzie put it in chat. As we were doing character creation, I was like, hey, does cheese exist in the islands of Sina Una?
Fuck.
And they went on like a 2-day like research, like deep dive. Is there cheese?
I gotta interrupt. We did not. One of our researchers, BJ Rocio, did, and I throughout working on Sina Una, he has been one of our main researchers. We have asked him all kinds of questions, just all kinds of whatever bullshit I am curious about. I essentially treat them like a fucking Google search that's actually accurate. They've always like getting back with some more juicy information. Half of what I know is purely because of them. And I asked BJ, hey, did we have cheese? And he was like, I don't know. I'll be back. And he messaged me like 2 days later going, okay, the answer is no, but kind of yes. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean, BJ? And it just comes down to like timing. We probably would have developed cheese by ourselves without Spanish influence. But at the time that we had cheese, a very Filipino thing of like goat milk and wrapped in banana leaf and it's actual cheese, Spanish already here. But it was made in islands that weren't touched by Spanish colonization yet. So the answer is no, we didn't have them before the Spanish, but we kind of had them without the Spanish. And it was the most intense research topic that we had thrown at them. And it just came from Josh asking, hey, did we have cheese? Is there cheese?
Because we wanted to make a hey, I'm allergic to dairy joke in me and Lucia's shared backstory.
Welcome to what it's like to work on Sina Una. Seriously, in a nutshell, that is what it was like working on Sina Una.
48 hours of cheese research for a joke.
Yep.
Yes.
It's worth it.
We did so much research into Clam Earth for like 3 paragraphs of text. I don't want to explain that, chat. I'm really sorry. I don't have the spoons me to explain Clam Earth.
One day. We'll just have you
good.
record a video of you going complete hog wild about Clam Earth.
Clam Earth, just an unlisted video. You can find it if you like look through my tweets on Twitter. Yeah.
Was that a sufficient answer to your question, CB? I know that we kind of like tangented there a little bit.
It
but
was a very sufficient question.
I feel like I've tried to be very deliberate and intentional about like approaching the material with respect. But at the end of the day, I'm learning, and there's often times where like Paladin and I will be shooting each other messages like, "Hey, can I do this?" or "Hey, what's up with that?" So it happens. I'm still trying to learn.
I think that's actually the best mentality when it comes to approaching this material when you're not part of the culture. Because like Latia and CB also has questions, but you really hammered in wanting to know more about the world. And I really do appreciate that in players, and especially you for doing that. I have this thing on a DM called Charles Moments. I ran a game years ago, and we were introducing characters, and we had like the Slayer named. The Slayer had like a really like fantasy name, and the Shaman had a very fantasy name, and the Fighter had a very fantasy name, and then the Witch introduces himself as Charles, and the other three players went, "Who the fuck is named Charles? You didn't yourself Charles? You mean Charles? You didn't have a Charles moment like, hi there, I'm your Babylon Steve." You know?
My first D&D character was named Steve.
My character in Realmsmith's Curse of Strahd campaign calls Strahd Steve.
I
Could
love
not.
that.
He could not remember his name.
I love that so much.
So now he's Steve's von Tyrant.
Steve just feels like a very anti-fantasy name.
Yeah. Steve,
Like-
no.
Like Stefan feels like very, very, very Germanic or like very fantasy. Steve just feels like very aggressively American.
Mhm.
We had a question from Omnis X. Are there any standout roleplay moments that you all will take with you from this campaign as gold star moments?
I have one, but my food's around the corner, so I can't say it yet. And I don't want to leave because don't say this question yet. Mingle for
Let's
for
all
2
swim at
minutes.
CB's empty
Don't do
slots.
this.
Yes, no, I'm doing it. Yeah, I guess I do, but I will be respectful and wait for CB. Nothing like last season though. Like nothing will ever be like last season.
I'm so sorry
Look.
about last season, honestly. I'm so sorry. I know I cleared it with you. I know I made sure you're okay afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm still so sorry.
So, I'll explain this while CB is gone. So, if you have been here since last season, you will know that my character Abtik from last season had some memory issues, completely unbeknownst to me. God damn it! And so when she was reuniting with her mother, I had this very emotional moment where Paladin, being the second person to make me cry ever on stream, like actually physically shed tears, completely like I couldn't unpack why that made me feel so emotional. But at the time, this is a little depressing. At the time, I was one of the caregivers to my grandfather who had dementia, and I was like 8 months later, I was like, oh, I just unpacked all that on stream.
That's on
Oops.
trauma.
Yep, and that's on trauma.
I legitimately feel so shitty because
You don't need to feel shitty about that.
I just had no clue and I should have been more aware.
I'm back.
You're
Welcome
back.
back, CB.
He can't hear us. He doesn't have his earbud. He
Doesn't
doesn't have
matter.
his earbuds in.
Oh my god, he can't hear us. His AirPods are in.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Sorry about that.
We already answered the question.
No, you didn't. Don't lie. It was a VOD.
No, we didn't. We
No,
didn't.
we did
We're talking about
not.
something else. So yeah, CB, what's your moment?
So it's 2, and they're kind of both Lucia. Sorry about it. One was last episode.
Yeah.
One was last episode. In just the vulnerability that Gaita showed when it come to like, cause she's had this goal, seeing her husband for so long, and then like seeing him so helpless, and her being helpless in the same breath, and like, right, and like her voice cracking and just just pleading for something to happen, was just my heart. But then honestly, anytime you get into Lola mode, just makes me very happy. Especially the episode where we were in the cave and y'all were making the food, and you're like, this is bland or whatever. Like whatever, you're like, this could be better. And like, well, he's giving it to you by the grace of his heart. Just still. Like,
I was literally gonna say that same moment in the cave.
Sorry about it. That was my main one until yesterday.
Actually, I feel like we're more open to talking about someone else. The question didn't state your moment, just a moment. So like,
Yeah.
what is your favorite moment of I guess someone else? Since I think we're more comfortable just like talking about other people than ourselves.
I think so. I have one that is us collectively. I think the moment where I was off with the Babylon of Baga, of Dion, talking about how I think I'm related to the Maiden of Blood, like the scene cutting between us talking and everybody else thinking that like we were like talking.
Was I here for that?
You were asleep in the
cocoon.
So
you
I was not here. I missed it. Oh, I missed that. Okay.
It's okay. It was adorable, and I just think that in the episode, I don't really have like role play moments. I just have like moments because I've got one for myself. Because I'll never be that cool again. Fighting the hunter and Tiburonis in the grove, because like you've got this like super badass ranger in a tiger cloak, completely hidden in the trees and like unable to be caught by a hunter. And that was just like the dice are really on my side for that. I was really appreciative of the dice for that.
That fight was kind of frustrating for me because like I'm such a fan of like mechanics where you can stealth mid-combat. Like in World of Warcraft, I love playing rogues because they get the vanish ability where they can just like go stealth mid-fight. And I had 2 of you jackasses doing that.
Hell yeah.
Against creatures that do not have high perception.
You should have made better creatures.
Clearly.
I actually that Latia talking there just also brought to mind. I do actually have one for myself, but it's only one for myself because I think CB commented on it in character in a session. So a lot of like where I was early in this campaign was really just like wallowing in depression after the loss of his wife. And there was that moment where he got to speak to her while I was doing the ritual before we kind of embarked on this great adventure. And part of that conversation was her basically just like telling Di like to get over it and move on because you're being a baby, which like valid, he was, right? Like I that's part of the character choice that I made, frankly, hoping that Paladin would push in that direction of him needing to move on. But so then after that session, there were a couple of sessions where I was like trying to reflect that like kind of emerging out of like a depression funk. And then there was, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, where, Di was being a little unruly. And I think Manalo like asked him point blank, like, why are you like so like energetic all of a sudden or something like that. And I don't recall exactly how it went, but I recall this moment in my mind very specifically of CB calling that out in character. And I was like, oh, that's right. I am doing that. I had forgotten that was like the progression that I was having until they had kind of pointed the spotlight on it. But
I don't even remember. Holy shit. I'm like trying to go back. Like
it was a couple episodes ago. It was part of the shenanigans. I feel like maybe right after.
And it wasn't so much of a question. It was a Manalo. It was a Manalo observation.
Right. Right.
One of the random quips. But sometimes, honestly, those are the best moments when it's something that's so random. Like it makes you go, oh crap.
Yeah.
Something that I appreciate about your role playing in general, Josh, is I like to throw a lot of things at you all very rapidly, very rapid fire. And something that you had done early on was you did a thing that I appreciate when players do that not a lot of people really do often, where you requested a thing. You requested that you get a scene done for Dai very early on to help him move forward, just to get him progressing, I guess, as the way to phrase it. And I didn't tell you how I would do it. I didn't tell you what form it would take. I just told you, okay, sure thing. And that moment came where you were talking to Kamatayan, and you were prepared to talk to this great spirit for a long-term duration, and then all of a sudden you are talking to your departed wife, who begins to lambast you. And I sincerely appreciate your role playing then, because you really did play a character who is so used to being kind of in control of the situation when it deals with spirits, and just being completely just, what?
Yeah. Oh, Josh was stunned. I was not expecting that.
And I really do appreciate your flexibility with just the things that I throw at you sometimes, especially with that scene.
I have to say a moment that I'm personally proud of, because for me, it's like there's a level of, yes, the player controls the character. You just do. But also there are just those first instincts you have as a character. You allow those things to just be. And with Manalo, as it's been hinted, Manalo has no idea what his past was and all that jazz, and that's kind of getting fleshed out. And I even gave Paladin like, hey, I know this happened, and I know this happened. And then they came with a curveball and said, oh, but what if you had another life? And I'm like, oh, great. Good to know. So there's just a lot of, growth and understanding, but like he's still just this character. And I gave these moments so we can just discover what happens versus me having a goal in mind with him. So when it all came down to it and the Maiden of Blood became a possibility of him talking to her, it was just like, yeah. He doesn't see he knows the stakes. He's not scared of those stakes. They have the idea that, I've already died once. Nothing can hurt me. It's not even that with him. He's just like, if this isn't meant to be, it's not meant to be. But someone needs to do it, because obviously we all thought that Nantog was working with the Maiden of Blood. Turns out he was against her. So now, yeah, her anger is very much, justified. And it's like, if we have to contact her, then I'm gonna do it. So I did it. I didn't expect what had happened to come out of it, but it did. So, yeah, I think that was the moment I was proud of, and I'm excited to see what that means for the future, because he has a clear pact and clear guidelines to that pact. So we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, as one of the people who worked on the book, the Maiden of Blood was always like one of my favorite things to read over and to get art for. And so, like, introducing her, like, in Lucia's brain, I was like, I know what the stakes are. I know how dangerous she is. I don't want to mess with that. And I kind of projected that onto Gaita, even though I don't even think that she would know that much either. So I really enjoyed Manalo's like journey of all of these things kind of culminating to a point of like, no one else is giving me answers. I'm just gonna go right to the source. Mm-hmm. And like if you if you watch me like while that scene is going down, I was like, I had to be muted because I was like, what the fuck? But I love that. I thought that was such a good, just like all of these things building up, like taking those points of exhaustion earlier, just like a couple of sessions before that, like dealing with that. And then just like the constant, like, I'm getting all this information, but like not information that I want. And just to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna call her.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off that. That really was the thing. I, as a player, gave it time, and obviously Manalo gave it time. It's like, I'm not going to get the answers I want automatically, but like I'll get something eventually. And it seemed like no matter where he went, no matter who he asked, he didn't get anything. Like even from like historians, like he was like so done being at the library because they had nothing. And then like, you know, talking to the spirit and all these things, he's just like, I'm never going to figure out what this is because, again, it's very clear, folks, that he is potentially connected to Bac Noir because of coming back, you know, the whole, you know, going into the water and all that stuff. Doesn't know what happened, but it's clearly he's connected to Bac Noir in some way, shape, or form. And he's connected to Tom Bonocano through his freaking armor. So he doesn't know why or what this means. So let's figure this out. And no one was helping him. And he's like, all right, well, someone else who might know is someone who's possibly as old as they are. Maybe, I don't know, at least as powerful. Hi, Maiden of Blood, you're here.
Yeah,
So-
for
Yep. I would also speak to that moment as I think something that really stands out from you this season, CB. And I recall that we had an offline discussion about it where you were talking about like, yeah, you know, I think Manalo just really feels like, you know, he doesn't have like a whole lot of a direction, right? Like everyone has things they're trying to do and he just kind of feels like he's there, he's floating, he's helping because he's involved with this. But there's this moment where, you know, okay, I'm going to do it. And then you've got this sudden purpose immediately afterwards. There's this drives. I know I've traded. This is worth it to me. And I recall during that conversation where you're kind of laying this out for that like large, like moral calculus that you had done for Manal. I was like, damn, that's a really good character choice. I wish I'd thought of that.
That's why it cracked me up when we got to Dion and the big battle was happening. It's like, make a choice. It's like, Manalo's choice was made when he talks to the Maiden of Blood. He's going to the altar. I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
It's not his purpose anymore.
I just as a side tangent, I truly love just the anxiety that I got to throw at all of y'all. Not so much you, CB, but when I said, okay, there are 3 locations. Which one are you going to? Individually, which of the 3 are you 4 going to? And I had a lot of fun with causing just a little bit of anxiety spike with that.
That was a very anxious time. I won't even lie. But like, luckily I had a character who was already like, it'd be different if I didn't have a character who was like really being drawn to all these different spots. I think that would have just been like, for me in my brain. But because I have such a one-track minded character already, that he was like, I don't care if your city burns. That's not my purpose. My purpose right now is to fix these shrines and kill Nantok.
Mm-hmm.
Not, and granted, he didn't know Nantok was there. If he would have known that, that could have been a different, you know, outcome. But to his mind, before he realized Nantok was down there, the grove was the more important thing. So he was like, so
yeah. That moment in particular with that kind of quandary leading up to that battle was, I think, like an epitome of why Paladin can be a very frustrating DM to have, because he will set you up in a situation where you cannot win everything, right? Like, I am so used to trying to game things like, okay, I'm going to try to like find the best of both worlds situation. I'm going to try to have my cake and eat it too. And Paladin's like, no, it's not possible. You can't do that. And like, I respect that as a DM choice. It was really frustrating. Like, I was mad.
I know. I
We could
feel
tell.
I was mad, but I respect it.
It's like you have your one piece of cake and you're eating it super grumpily.
I don't even like this cake that much.
That was so great when we were trying to get over there and you were like, well, you're just being a dick now, but that's fine. I was like, don't pick me up. You know what? Just go by yourself. Do not pick me up. I did not want to be a part of that.
Yeah, for each place that there was, I had like failure states if none of y'all went to it.
How dare.
You still hit the failure state for the boat, but like you got to get something of a success out of it. Yeah. Something I do appreciate about Lucia's character overall is just there's been this huge focus so far for her on like her family, her child, her future grandchild, searching for a husband, like talking to the Datu of Baga, and like having him mention, oh yeah, him, and her realizing that that's her husband. Just her mood switching just instantly into a tone that we literally have not seen. Of just how long ago, where was he going, what was he doing,
Who was he with?
Yeah. And having that sudden shift in tone, because like she has just been this like, oh, hello, he's cute, you should talk to him. Hey, you should go talk to him, you know. He big. And then turning over to the dad going, where is he?
She's on a mission.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback off that too. We were joking last week when Gabe was here. Shout out to Gabe. We were joking because Gabe, it seems like, has a beast of a character. But I was like, Gabe, I'm going to be real. You angering the wrong person. Like, I can't protect you because I think we all know that Gaita could destroy the world if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because of what we've seen and how you've played her. She's been played, you know, obviously, yeah, she's a Lola and she's going to always have that with her. But like, there's been moments where you see that rage come out and you see that power come out and you're just like, yeah, no, you don't want to mess with her. You don't mess with the Lola who can actually, that chancla or whatever she's throwing will actually decapitate you.
Yes.
Not just hurt you. You're dead. So look, watch
Tread
yourself.
carefully.
There is this movie. I have no idea how well it's aged. I have no idea what y'all's opinions of it are, but there's a movie based off a book called Perks of Being a Wallflower. And there's a scene, like, I want to say 2/3 of the way into the movie, into the book, where you finally see like the kind of anger issues that the main character has. And it comes in the form of like, he's in the cafeteria. One of his friends is being literally being beaten up by 2 or 3 kids, and he walks over there, and there's just this like black screen for a moment as he's raising a fist, and you just see him standing there with like bruised and bloody knuckles and a couple of kids on their fucking asses, and him saying, "Touch my friend again, and I'll fucking blind you." And that feels. I get those kind of vibes, that kind of like scary intensity from Gaita when she's raging.
Yeah.
I think, man, so for character moments, my favorite was actually kind of this like progression of Pilar's character, where we were on the boat and Manalo and Dai were, I think, identifying the mask. We're trying to talk to it. And while they were talking, Gaita was like, hey, like, have you ever thought about like your mom, and like if you ever need a more like that motherly, womanly advice, like she wanted to be there for her, because, you know, Gaita's very like, you know, it's good to have a father, but also like there's something about a mother that's very important to her.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing a child like didn't have one growing up, like that's like big to her. And so like we had that conversation, and Pilar kind of being like, I never even really like thought of that, of like needing that kind of motherly attention.
That's why she's such a hard ass.
Yeah. And then as soon as we landed in Iraga and you met Hinahan, then you carried out that nurturing over to her. And I thought that was cool, because we hadn't really seen that kind of side of Pilar. And I thought it was funny too that like afterward she was immediately chastised for it. But
I'm just trying to be good.
but definitely like this whole time of like Pilar like having this very like I'm a badass and I don't wait for stuff and I beat stuff, like I'm good at what I do, I don't take no shit. And then like having this moment with Gaeta of like, oh, I never really thought about like, you know, softness or tenderness, and then immediately carrying out like that kind of moment with Hinahan of like being this big sister. Yeah, like that was really cool. I really enjoyed that moment, and I'm really glad that none of us were there for it either. Like that was was a really good moment for Pilar to have by herself.
It's a pretty consistent thing with my characters. Like Latia in real life does not like kids at all. Like she does not want to have kids. There's a picture of me somewhere holding a child. It looks like the most unnatural fucking thing in the world. But my D&D characters, and it might just be the way certain GMs will do their kid or their teen NPCs, but it also might have been a little bit of me bleeding into, oh, this is Legaya's sister, must protect. But my D&D characters always have a soft spot for kids. Like, and to have it progress in that fashion, like you said, Lucia, like the Pilar does not know her mother. Pilar suddenly gains mother figure. Mm-hmm. Pilar has mother instinct. Hinahan.
Right.
It's like, I gotta put this somewhere. Where is it going? Oh.
I have a question to piggyback off of that a little bit.
Yeah, what up?
It was very, I mean, and I've realized something when I talk. I've always realized it, but I have to say it sometimes. I say things that sound shady, but they're not. Like, it's just part of the conversation. It was a very interesting choice that you had Pilar hear the conversation that Manalo had with the pillar with the with the maiden of blood.
The giant fucking pillar of wobbling blood.
I will say that just having that wouldn't be out of character for my games either.
No.
How has that changed or not changed your character? Because that's a pivotal point.
It is.
To her. And I feel like there has been a shift, but I'm just curious to know, like, how has that been for you, is processing that?
It's been, actually, I'm going to piggyback off of that with a question for Paladin, if he will answer it.
Sure.
If he will answer it, because after that session, I asked him how many hints I missed. Yeah. Because I know Paladin.
Yeah.
I know Paladin, and he told me that I missed 3 hints.
3 hints.
3 hints. Will you tell me what they were?
I could legitimately make you suffer through the VODs if you are truly curious.
Why would you do that to me, though? This is the moment. If
it's not suffering.
No, it's not.
It would be watching her friends play D&D.
Exactly. But then she would have to observe herself, and if she's anything like me, watching yourself play a game or watching yourself in a video is kind of hell.
He's right.
Yep. There was there was a thing that your father had said.
Okay.
There was a reference in the letters in the library.
Okay. That's what I thought, because I wasn't there for the library episodes.
Yep, I know. Which is why I said you missed it. I didn't say you missed it. I said, like, you know the connotation I mean, though, right?
I do know what you mean. There's a difference between me missing it and me missing it.
Yeah. And there was a thing said by Non-Tog when looking at all of you.
Ooh, okay.
I also really love the fact that y'all gave this thing a name. Okay,
I will jump off of Paladin to finish answering CB's question. Thank you.
Yep.
She hasn't shown it, and I don't feel like I've done a good job of showing it, because I think she's still processing it. In reality, it's only been like now that we've been on the boat and we fast traveled the boat, it had only been 2 days, if that. So anytime that we weren't like I think between her overhearing that conversation and getting back to Iraga may have been like what 4 or 5 days.
You're also missing time spent traveling from Tulunan to Tamanduk.
Right. No, that's the time I'm talking about
Okay,
with
okay.
the fast travel where we haven't really, aside from what did we do on the way, we haven't really talked about that. But for that first little bit, she was still just kind of like internalizing it. Really, it had only been 2 days since finding out that she was the niece of the Maiden of Blood to talking about it with the Babylon of Dion Dion, whose name completely eludes me right now. But yeah, it's testing her newfound patience. Because and even that hasn't been entirely that long. It's been maybe a couple of weeks since Kumika slapped some sense into her. So
on a small personal note, I've been DMing for years and years at this point. I've been DMing longer than most people in our industry have even touched D&D or table role-playing games. And still to this day, one of the most awkward situations that I sometimes go through with someone is like an NPC becoming a mentor figure. It's so awkward, and I almost never see it done right. And whenever I'm doing it, which is something I actively try and avoid, I feel like such an ass.
Kumika slap is harsh.
Yeah.
And Pilar doesn't. I think that's also part of the fact, like part of the thing of her not having a mother figure. She doesn't know what to do, how to act or behave around like powerful women. Pilar is like, I am a powerful woman, actually stands next to powerful woman. Oh no. But yeah, she's still kind of reconciling it. Like the talk with the Babylon and Dion Dion was like, maybe this is a good thing. And Pilar's like, how is this a good thing? And then she's like, okay, how is this a good thing? So that's where she is now.
And Manalo and her had a small talk to just confirm that it was heard and it was said. But we haven't really gone from that. But it was a nice little talk. Just, okay.
Yeah, it was we are both aware of the things that were said that night, and we are both okay with this.
Which is really what is changing, what is all this?
Which is what I think for Manalo, which is all that matters. Like I don't feel like Manalo is too concerned. Like he would be concerned in a way with how she felt about it, but it doesn't affect him so much. So he's like, you deal with that. That's your shit.
There's even less of that. Because there's a level of dismissal. There's a level of intentional dismissal. Like, I do that a lot with people. Like, I don't care about you. Bye. But like him, it's not that he doesn't care. It's that that's just not his track.
Right. That's what I mean.
But he has noted that it could be because he is connected to the Maiden of Blood and she is too by a different way. So there might be something that happens in the future. He doesn't know. He's not really thinking about that either. But yeah, who really knows?
Who can say?
And she's the only one who's really said out loud. I think that's the important part. She's the only one who said out loud that she has noticed something different about him. Gaita and I haven't really talked about it yet. Not saying they need to, but there hasn't been any like, hey, what actually happened to you? Or that's the lie. There was the mention of the red stuff, but he gave a very, very bullcrap lie. And from there, we was like, okay, and they kept going. So like, they haven't really seen what all this means yet either. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this all boils overall, like how it kind of spills out.
Dai's passive insight is absolute garbage. He will not find out unless you tell it to him.
I love that. Which is interesting for Babayalan, who is meant to be a leader, a spiritual leader of a place.
But it's an intelligence-based class. And so I was like, what if I made wisdom one of my lower scores?
Oh, I love it. It's just hilarious.
I have a question for Lucia.
Okay.
So like you are the person who had this cockamamie idea of, is there any like Filipino stuff in D&D? And the answer was sadly no. How does it feel remembering like how it was way back when you started, even before I was involved, to what we're doing literally right now? What's that feel like comparing the two?
It's weird because for me, when I started, I was like, doing this will make me feel more like included, like more at home in a game. But I think like part of the draining part that comes with like making Sina Una what it was that all of the kind of traditions that you're used to kind of all lead back to like this terrible thing that happened to your country that wasn't even really a country. So like there's this huge like sense of like I'm so proud of it and I do feel more at home, but it's almost like I had to relearn how to be Filipino all over again, because it was very much like, yeah, that thing that you're used to, that's from colonization, and that thing that you really love, that's from colonization, and that other thing. So for me, it's very much like I really enjoy it, and I feel like there's part of playing a character very similar to like my own Lola that feels very at home. It feels very like there's just kind of the sense about it that I wouldn't really be able to do it in the same way if I was playing in like a European setting, I feel. Because it's just like culture affects behavior. Like it's just different. But at the same time, like there's a lot of things that I'm like, oh, my Lola would do this, but I can't do that in game because my real Lola is a raging Catholic. So it's like, it's kind of different. And sometimes like, it's really foreboding because also like, because it's pre-colonial and like, you don't want to push those like bad colonization stereotypes, etc. Like, it's kind of like harrowing to be like, I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to fuck it up, even though it belongs to me, kind of thing. So I think for me and for a lot of other Filipino people who have like contacted me about the book, like people are always like, yeah, like, congrats and thank you so much for like bringing our culture to like the forefront. And I'm like, you're welcome, but also like I feel like I really didn't bring what it started off as to the table, and it like rapidly evolved. We as a team all unpacked our trauma at once from colonization, and then we were like, okay, now make a Birdman who takes his legs off. Like it's very like I'm in love with this book, and it also like playing in it is really surreal because it doesn't even feel like it was gonna happen. Cause like we were talking about, like just researching cheese. Like imagine doing that for a whole book.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes me feel at home in D&D, but it also is very like, it's my home, but it's not what I thought home was. So
I will say there's definitely also a different feel, which kind of goes back to the beginning of this talk where Josh talked so much about asking questions. There's a different feel about playing in this world. It feels like it's why I like this game so much. I think the attention that y'all gave to the book and to the world and what you tried to do with it, it really like it makes us want to continue that, like to pay it that tribute and to make sure that we're doing everything as right as we can. But also I feel that there's a certain way that I feel about this that I think CB might be able to understand, and maybe even you, Paladin, and Lucia might be able to understand. We Black folk don't know where we came from, right? So, getting to experience to be a part of a culture that feels just so like I feel at home when I play this game because of just the love that y'all gave to this world and this culture and wanting to do it so much justice. And like, it makes me want to just immerse myself in it deeper. Like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, not having a culture outside of Black culture, like we don't have anything like this. And it's really nice.
Sina Una is filling that void of being able to experience a culture and like dig into it, and like not saying it's our own now, but it's that it's very there's a similarity and there's a vibe that just feels like we kind of had this conversation, Paladin, and I mentioned it. I've been planning on doing some more African based things in D&D so I could see more culture, and I was like, seeing it be so successful in Sina Una is what had inspired me to start doing more on the African side. Because again, as Latia said, unless you do a 23andMe or Ancestry DNA, you don't know where you come from. And even then, it gives you a place, but you don't know the tribe. Don't know anything. So it's just not having that possibility and then being able to just fully jump head in first into this setting has been pretty cool. And granted, I am playing a character who's not as tied. I mean, he is tied to the culture, obviously, but like at the level of, I think of the four of us, he's more of the supernatural, the more spiritual, in the sense that there's a lot of stuff, a lot of grand stuff happening to him versus cultural family or cultural, moments like that. But still, it's still nice to just kind of sit and just watch this world around, because it really is just this world and you just are existing in it. It's nice.
Two tangents. One is Manalo actually fascinates me as a character because Manalo is more tied to the culture than the other three characters in this game. Because you are tying yourself, you start off being tied to one very heavy death belief, which is the Umala. And then secondly, you're tying yourself to the spirit of blood, which was made as this kind of living embodiment of rage at a premature death. And that is just fascinating to me. But second, working on this book was kind of a nightmare. And I'm confident saying this with you hearing this, because I know that you are, for better or for worse, a very sturdy person. But working on this book was so fucking hard, emotionally speaking, that every time I say it, I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Just because there would be a cycle of working on stuff and researching stuff. I'd ask a researcher a question and we'd learn some stuff. And then after a week or so of this, I'd be on a call with Mac or Lucia, and just being like, I didn't think I thought I'd be cool. I thought I'd be cool this week. I thought I'd be fine. Like in like near tears, just kind of freaking out because I had never had to come to terms with actually being Filipino, and this book dragged it into me. I say this sometimes online. I say it in the forward of the book, but working on this book, I kind of stopped calling myself half. I've stopped calling myself half Filipino. I've stopped making any kind of words or statements to separate myself from being just a Filipino person. Just because I fully accept that part of myself now. And getting to that point, while I'm glad I'm at this point, if there was anything I could have done over to make it less painful, I would take it in a heartbeat, because dealing with seeing who you actually are in terms of heritage is a blessing, but holy fucking shit did it hurt.
That's fair. I don't want to cut you off if you're not done with
that's
that.
about it. That's about it.
Okay. You had said that you had a couple of thoughts there, so I just want to be sure that you got everything out. I have just one thing that I kind of want to add, kind of to the point that I think CB and Latia were making about kind of adopting the islands of Sina Una as not necessarily their home culture, but having it fill that void of feeling like a home. One of the things that I often say when I describe what it's like to do this game with y'all is I describe it as like being guided through like your culture by people who know the culture. It's very reminiscent of me, for me, of like going to like a friend's hometown, and they're walking around like, this is the school that I went to, and I did all these things here, and this is the place where, you know, like I had my first kiss behind like this, you know, shop in the mall. Like it's very much like, this is meaningful to me. This is fundamental in kind of shaping part of you, just like who you are and the outlook that you have on life. And while, you know, it's something that y'all have researched and really made your own, it feels so incredibly meaningful to me as we're going through it, and gives me this great appreciation for Filipino culture and the things that y'all have gone through and come across in the process of making this book. So that's what I have to add. I think we're going to go to a break here in a moment, unless anyone has a thought to add before we go.
It's like this book.
It's a really good book.
It's a really good book.
We're going to take a 10-minute break right now to stretch our legs, get some water. I don't really have any funny ways to phrase it this week. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Heck yeah.
What now?
We back.
Oh my gosh.
You okay,
Wow.
Lydia?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm
Alright.
so happy to be here.
We had a question from OmnisX. For Paladin first and then everyone else, what are some aspects of this world that you haven't seen in-game but are excited to get to?
Every single thing about this game just fled Paladin's mind.
Literally everything. There are a lot of high CR monsters that I cannot throw at this party at their current power level without feeling a little bit of guilt. As soon as I'm confident I won't feel any guilt, they are going to fight a lot more things.
That's scary.
That's just wonderful.
I can say what mine is. Sorry, one second. I would love to see you more, and this is not me saying DM give a shit, but I'd like to see more magic items get seen. We haven't really seen anything like that as of late. That's a little bit. Like I have like +1 dagger, and like there's
one of us has a necklace that lets us water breathe that we've never used.
Ever.
I do know about that.
Leotia has a magic sword.
He means the one. CB means the ones in the book.
Oh,
Yeah, the ones in the book. Yeah, that's a lot of cool
I
stuff.
was like-
I'd like to see.
No. I knew what CB meant. CB meant the ones in the book, the shiny
Fair.
ones.
Yeah.
technically, I started the campaign with a magic item that I have not had need to use yet.
What?
Interesting,
Josh, why are you holding out on us?
right?
I haven't had need to use it yet.
How dare
It's
you?
very situational.
How dare you? Also, I want to see more of the spells come out. More of the Cena Una spells come out. We saw like Ride Lightning when that was really cool. We saw some last.
Hold on. Speaking of Ride Lightning, I'm gonna show y'all the art for it in the book.
Heck yeah, you will.
It's some good art.
That's
It's
some
good,
good
art.
We only have like 3 pieces of spell art, but each one that we got, we're just like,
Mm-hmm. Just going fast.
Right? Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Ride
It
Lightning
is-
is such a good. It's so good.
They did
Mhm.
so good with that art.
I have the Sonic theme song in my head now.
You're welcome.
Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, thank you, Latia. Holy heck. Sorry. Tangent. I need to figure out how to stream Sonic Heroes. Anywho, I've been wanting to play that game for so long. But the main thing is, I want to. We've talked about them, and we see some stuff happening. But I'm excited to see more Celestial Eater stuff come out. Especially the big tiger lion one.
Arimaonga? Arimaonga.
Arimonga.
Yes.
I was looking at it and I didn't know how to say it, so I just said tiger lion thing. But I can't wait to get see more of that lore and some of that become. I mean, it's gonna be scary when it does, and I'm expecting that. But that's what I want to see.
The
Why
thing
do you think he's
about
gonna be scary? He's friendly.
But yeah, the thing about Arimaonga is that he's the one we probably won't see because he's like, fuck this. I might eat the sun again.
Right. But we'll definitely see something because
Yeah, we'll see
again,
something.
I'm connected to at least 2 of them in some way, shape, or form. Non-talk is at least connected to the one of them. Maybe 2. We don't know.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
3.
Wait.
3.
We met somebody. Who did we meet in? We met somebody in Timanduk who, wherever we are now, Talunan, Timanduk, one of them.
Right, Tamanduk.
Thank you. We met somebody in Timanduk who had a feather cape, and I was like, "Is this Minukawa? Is it Minukawa
I had
time
the
now?"
same thought.
Rip.
Which is why I think I remember specifically asking how big the feathers were because I was like, "Paladin, I see you. I see what's going on here."
You received jack shit.
Because it
I see
wasn't-
you.
We didn't. The eagle we fought in season 1 was not Mingukawa.
No, God, no.
No, I
No.
don't think so. Yeah, it was something. But
That the corpse I think could fit into a boat. Like, no.
oh, that was Lagaya's dad.
That was the giant eagle working alongside Lagaya's dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is definitely a sentence.
There was a whole working relationship there. It's fine.
It's fine.
But
Yeah,
no,
loosely associated.
We definitely did not fight Minukawa.
no, we did not. But yeah. Sorry, Rebel. You can kind of see him right here.
Oh, announces himself.
My boy,
But yeah, come get your damn son.
get him.
But yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
I don't know if this is cheating because like I've seen it a little bit before in I think the first playtesting session that we did. It was set in Cota Bologna, which is this just like ridiculous island. It's like super dangerous. It's like all set around this massive volcano. And like basically, I seem to recall the premise was you don't go to this island because it's dangerous, is basically, I think, how Paladin framed it, for us for going into that playtesting session. I was like, that sounds really cool. I want to go. And I haven't played, that like one off basically in the session. It sounds really cool and I want to go. I want to go to the island that kills you.
Mackenzie was very clever in designing mechanics for that island in that the longer you stay there, the less and less you're able to naturally recover and be well. In my own personal notes, I wrote down, not a place to go to if your life's going well. Much like the DMV.
I just love it. I love it so much. I want to go back. I want to go back to the island that's a giant volcano holding a spider god. Let's go.
You can go.
Right.
Okay. I'm going. See ya, party. I'm off.
The volcano there is called the Pit. Like, it doesn't have a fun name like Mayon or Nulkab or, you know, any of the other volcanoes in the islands of Sina. And it's just called the freaking Pit.
The freaking Pit.
It's the Pit has the connotation in my mind of like sometimes growing up I would like listen to my mom watch like a Tagalog show. We put it off in the other room, and it would be like, I don't speak language, and it would just be like a you killed my brother, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? Huh? What? And for this, it's like a bunch of these terms got thrown at me all at once, and I'm like, oh, Mayon, Tamanda, Tulana, okay, Babailon, Headhunter, okay, and then like the Pit, huh? Wait, what was that? What? Huh? What?
And that makes it worse because it's the only one you understand. I feel like your mom was watching Tagalog soap operas where they gasp.
Oh, definitely.
Where they gasp in Tagalog.
My mom watches a plethora because she had like the Tagalog channel for a while. It was a special thing on cable, and like she would literally watch that thing nonstop because like she lives in America and she has American friends, and like sometimes she talks to other Filipino women, but like it's mostly just America and American friends and her kids who watch American stuff. And it's like, no, I want to have my comfort shows, and like they have their own Tagalog Filipino like fantasy show that was like their country's version of trying to cash in on the Game of Thrones craze. And those had the most wild non sequitur lines that I cannot have any context to whatsoever. Because I clearly remember trying to watch along with her and watching a bunch of these like makeup elves Filipino people marching in formation, and one voiceover go, blah, 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 arrows of light. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Tell me what the fuck is going. What was that? And my mom goes, "Oh, it's the arrows of light." I'm like, "Don't you fucking do this." Back to the question at hand. Lucia, what are some things in this world that you want to get to in game?
I mean, I'm just having fun kind of going through all of it and, you know, just being able to play in it. I really like all of the spirit stuff. I really like when we run into spirits because I think that, like, even for me, when I was like going over like the reading of it and matching the art and everything, it's very like they work so mutually together, like the people and the spirits. And I think that that's one thing that like really stands out about Sinuna is this like relationship that is also like, yeah, it's not the spirit of the tree, it is the tree that is so different. So I always really like running into them. Like the lava crocodile that we ran into last session. Yes, that was super cool just to hear about because that was one of the spirits that I was like, I really wanted to get art for, and it just wasn't gonna happen. But Satine used it in her one shot with the sirens, and it's always really cool to me when people kind of interact with the spirits, and it's very like, yeah, the relationship is like maybe the closest that you get to it anywhere is like Pocahontas, but like that's a really bad movie. So, and trying to explain it like, yeah, it's like Princess Mononoke, kind of. It just doesn't really read the same until you're like in the game, I feel. So I always really like the spirit stuff.
I agree with Lucia there because it's I don't want to say it's necessarily like a Western way of thinking about this, but like the spirits are always there. So it was when Nulkab came to talk to Apoy last session, I was like, what the fuck? like you know that the spirits are there, but I mean I guess it is a sort of Western way of thinking because I know that they are not, but my default is to think of them similar to gods who are, you know, they only show up every so often and they're gone and maybe they'll come back, but no, the spirits are always here. So yeah, totally Nulkab will make a form of themselves from the mountain and come talk to people. Like, yes, they're always here, they're always present. And it makes me like as impatient as Pilar to want to see more of them because of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
like Latia really wants the spirit that is Pilar's cloak to fucking talk to her. But she's just like, no, it's on its own time. On its own time. Is it time yet?
Do you really need another character that has a spirit talk to them?
Yes.
The last spirit was in the boat.
Paladin knows what I like, okay?
The last spirit is that damn sword.
Right? So many things talk to me.
Go ahead. Interject. The thing that fucking got to me like midway through the book was I was talking some more animism stuff with BJ, one of the researchers, whose name is very unfortunate.
Unfortunate, live your best life.
No, like his name okay. I don't want to make fun of him, but like his dad really absolutely adores Billy Joel.
What's my thing? He really loves BJ.
No. and his father named him Billy Joel, and he was like, I just don't like it. So like, you know, my nickname is BJ, and then I learned what that means in America.
Oh,
rip.
But I was talking with him about just animism stuff. I was like, yeah, you know, I think it's just really cool that there's like all these spirits of like nature and whatnot. He's like, oh no, there's spirits in everything. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, you know, like a sword.
Your toaster has a spirit.
Yeah, like anything you have a big enough relationship with animism will eventually get awareness in theory. And it's like, yeah, some swords have awareness too. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean a sword? You made that. Yeah, but it's a thing in the world. Oh no. Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, the materials that it is made from exist in the world and have spirit. So why would that change as it is turned into a different shade?
Yeah, I didn't get that at first. I actually have a question for all of you and sort of with Lucia. Clearly for this go around, I am adding more stuff to the world just because like we had season 1 and it was very close to what is already present in the book, just cut and go. And with this one, as I described it to our other researcher, Wax, I'm trying to be as metal as I feasibly can. Thus, you know, yeah, some dude is definitely going to be riding on the back of a flying shark. Why not? But what has been like adjusting from like how Sina Uno was like presented in season 1 to season 2, and for Lucia, what is it like going into this campaign with the familiarity that you have of the book to the kind of bullshit that I'm throwing into the world here? Because like the tiger spirit stuff that y'all dealt with on Tlunon, that's all fucking made up by me.
We know. We
Yeah.
asked you about that after the fact because I'm in the book like, okay, tell me about Holly Holly Ma. Wait, where is Holly Holly Ma?
And there's just me laughing. He's on the fucking book.
So, like, I'm going to start this off because I think that's the glory of D&D. Like, you take a setting or you take something and then you expand upon it. You're not expanding upon it to make it better, but you're doing what you have to do to fit the game that you want to tell. And I remember the conversation of season 1, and I remember us saying that this is going to be kind of straightforward because this is the first true introduction of Sinaruna consistently to the world, so we need to show it as it is. I guess realize the thing. I'm laughing. But we need to show it to the world as it is so people can understand what it is. But now that it's been solidified, you're able to play and do what you should do with D&D, which is, again, take what you need, make a game, add or subtract to what you need to make that game work. So yeah, it didn't really. I think, if anything, we were a little, best way to put it, we put chains around ourselves for season 1 just so we can make sure that the base story was being told.
We were very careful.
Yeah, we're very careful, and we're still careful. We have to respect the culture and respect what it is. But now those chains are off, and now we're able to like really just exist in this world how we think we should be existing. So no, it's been cool. Also, I laughed because of Bigby's name on Zoom. That's all.
I was going to make a joke about how you described all the things that you were adding above and beyond the book as bullshit, Paladin, and how I feel like that's fitting. But I feel like that's unfair joke because I think you're doing a lot to take kind of the spirit of the islands of Sinaruna and bring so much life into it, right? Like, I didn't think the tiger spirits that we dealt with were not in the book until you told us. And I was like, I won't go read about it because, like, I'm going to try not to like break the immersion of like my character, not knowing about them. But like,
Latia.
Look, I respect Latia's choice. I wasn't here for that,
and I needed to understand Holly Holly Ma.
I know.
But so look, I'm not trying to take shots at Latia. Latia, I love you. But look, I was like, you could have been like, yeah, that's in the book, and I would not have doubted you for a second. And I would have found out like 2 years down the road when I went to go, oh, hold on, let me go look up that tiger spirit. What about them? And just like, they wouldn't have been there. I would have been like, you betrayed me. No. But like, exactly. I feel like you've done a great job of really expanding upon the spirit of the world in the stuff that you've added. And you mentioned like having people ride Tiburones. Good. It's D&D. Let's get some fantasy nonsense up in here. Let's have some dudes on flying sharks. If you can have dragons, you can ride a shark. That's what I say. So, like, bring it on. We're here to have fun. We're telling a compelling story. You got some cool stuff in a really cool setting. And I love it.
And I'm going to piggyback off that really quickly. Here's the thing, Paladin. Almost called you Goblin, just so you know, because I saw Robo Goblin in the chat. Here's the thing. Yes, you're now HTT Goblin.
I'm going to the seas.
Here's the thing. Whatever you introduce to the game, we as players are allowed to do as well, for the most part. And now Manalo has a Tiburones.
Yeah.
That's all.
I want to piggyback off of that just to say for a second that I think my favorite thing so far that you, aside from Holly Holly Ma and the other tiger spirits, was that smart ass Bunisnius, that armored fucking Bunisnius that was attacking Baga, because I'm looking at the stats for it now and they are not that smart. So, like, you are bringing into the world, like, you are changing things about things that exist that is a completely logical thing to happen. Like, they're not stupid, but they're not that smart. But it's completely logical. Like, it's possible for things to grow and evolve and change and be armored and special deliver Carabao to a village. You know, it's my favorite joke so far about the season.
Man, I think for like the difference between writing it and being in it, which first of all, was there a reason that they were tigers? Because we've had conversations about tigers before, Paladin. Okay.
I needed a fast and very terrifying predator. That's all.
Oh, okay. Well,
and like we talked about tigers enough that I was like, fuck it.
Well, I asked because Holly Hollymont turned into like a guy, right?
Yeah.
When he crashed. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was playing a different character who was like Pilar's age, I would have seen that as a personal attack, considering what we've talked about. That's why I was thinking about it just now.
I want to ask, do you want me to stay quiet?
Okay.
If you, no, I want to say it because I want to say it how I want to say it. You want me to stay quiet?
Sure, but I have to give context because I think it's funny.
Lucia thinks Tony the Tiger can get it.
Absolutely.
Basis of it, though.
Well, that's why they don't do ads with him anymore.
Who
You know
would
that, right?
object to that?
I know.
So
So you can give context. I just wanted to say that.
there was a night where I messaged Paladin a screenshot of a draft of a Twitter post that was, what's his Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda,
Yeah.
the other tiger from Kung Fu Panda 3, Tony the Tiger, the tiger from Zootopia that would treat you right on the train, and the tiger from Madagascar 3. The comment.
Hey, I'm gonna add a tiger for you. I'm adding a tiger for you.
Don't do
That's
this.
just Tony fan arts.
No. I think he's adding a new one. Don't do this.
Oh
Stop
my
this.
god.
Nope. Because I saw this tiger and I went, oh.
I have an idea of what tiger. This has evolved so fucking quickly, and I have an idea of what tiger this is. And if I swear to God,
Hold on, I gotta get a good picture.
I can't believe we're here already.
Yeah,
We're
we
here.
are.
We're here.
We're here. Lucia, it
There you
wasn't.
go.
It wasn't an attack. Oh no!
No.
It's Bob from Overwatch in his tiger outfit.
No.
I literally said, that's bad. That's bad.
I
Okay.
have to go.
Having some composure. No,
have to go.
Lucia, it wasn't an attack on you. It was not. It should have been though. It's what you would have deserved, but it wasn't an attack on you. No, Holly Ma was just a Dewata.
The caption that I wrote for the post was, "They just hit different." That was going to be the entire post I never ended up putting up. Because Paladin shamed me about it.
But while we're talking about fictional characters, though, Thor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got
Great, good.
that muscle under the punch belly. Like I feel very good today.
I said what I said. Moving on.
I sent you that.
We
clip
know
from
what you
Dr.
said.
And I sent you that clip from Dr. Horrible sing-along blog.
So Mac has a question.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I have it here. I have it. I will read it. I will read it. Question, colon. Speaking of last season, comma, is there anything you think your past characters got up to in the interim between this campaign and the last question mark? Open parentheses, Josh, don't look at me with your fictional father trauma, close parentheses.
Woo, preemptive.
Well, yeah. I mean, he is the Babylon of Pahinga now. And he's still there, living his best life. Bayani's still staring.
I was about to say, the legends say Bayani is still staring.
I will confirm Talrock's doing very well for himself.
Oh yeah, I would destroy you if he wasn't. Especially that last episode when his sister almost died. No. The shrug. But no, yeah. I think that he continued doing what he did. It is established that Talrock and I do know each other. They've worked together in the past, traded information.
It'd be really funny if like you met Talrock and you remember how you voiced Talrock, right?
Yeah, he was like here or something.
I think it'd be absolutely just fucking hilarious to like meet Talrock and I would say hi and Talrock would go, my friend.
No.
Like he smoked 20 packs
no.
a second for the past 5 years.
No.
Unacceptable.
I X that. X card being played on the table. I X that one.
What? Smoker's voice?
Everything. Yes. Everything about that.
I think Aptique spent some time in Iraga. There was that guy that she met at the Jeweled Hawks ball. Who she said that she would go to Iraga and meet.
Yeah.
And she probably did that. I cannot tell you what came of that, but Paladin. Don't you give the eyebrows. God. Why don't hold on. Why is it that in
Whoa
no. Why is it that I play buff ladies with spears, but also young women who apparently need to be married off?
It's a weird Venn diagram that's almost a circle.
Shut up. God, I can't stand you. But I also like to imagine that she spent a long time on the seas with Igat Kilat. So there.
I think really, Latia, you just create very strong characters that people are drawn to.
Thanks. I think.
No, I intend that fully as a compliment.
I know you intended as a compliment, but my response has not changed. I don't know if I want to thank you for that, but I mean it with love.
Look,
I'm frustrated.
It's mutual.
Right now.
Why?
Okay.
Stop viewing your eyebrows. Stop it. I'm not gonna shave them off. I'm gonna make up over them so that they look like they're gone.
No, if you really wanted to mess with someone, shave one off.
I'm gonna shave this half of this one and this half of that one.
Do not do that.
I'm gonna do it.
Get you some purple Elmer's glue stick. I got you.
Hey.
How was Ghani before we met him and he struggled?
Well, I think that he had a very nice family life. He settled down. Eventually stopped working at what's his face's shop making armor and weapons and started his own. Him and Teo, they raised their 2 daughters. They had a lovely time. They were a happy little family until
the Fire Nation attacked.
Decided to leave and never come back. And that's on Trauma.
She's still alive.
Wow.
I had canon. She's still alive. She's still alive.
I mean, you can believe what you want. I'm not going to
still
comment.
alive. She's still alive.
Sure.
She's traveling with Aptique.
Sure.
Stop commenting. Your comments, although they are not in the positive or negative, are comments in themselves.
They are just affirmative.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to super glue your forehead down.
Wow.
I've never had to do this before in like the past couple of years, and doing it right now is actually straining to do something like that.
Yeah. Your muscles, if you don't use them very often, they hurt and get tired after a while.
So I should do it more then.
So to
No.
get back to questions, I have a question. It's just it's a think question, kind of. If you were playing this character that you have right now, but they had a variant, what would the variant be?
Crocodile die.
Stop this. Nope, I quit.
Die.
To explain more, playing this, if you could play your character, but as a different class, and it still feel like that character, what would it be?
Oh.
And if you say crocodile again, I'm going to hit you. I know
Sorry,
where you live.
I had the violent image of Crocodile Dundee, but just the eye.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
That's not a buy-in. This isn't a buy-in.
Hey, all this. I quit.
You're
She
the one who
still
asked the
would've-
question.
She still would have been a monk, but she would have been a super fucking punchy monk.
Hmm.
I mean, you'd have 4 fists.
I would have 4 fists.
What about you, Lucia?
No. I think it's kind of hard to play Skyta in another class just because I feel like her characterization is so tied to her rage. I'd say maybe if she had started from a younger age, maybe a paladin. And having those ties kind of be to her blood, like literally in that way. Because I think that at like the top of it, like she's kind of learning now that she could have kind of more purpose than being a mom. But I think that at like her core, that's what fulfills her. And that's why she's having such a hard time, because her kids are grown up and she's about to have like a grandkid. So I also chose Barbarian, and when we talked about it, it was very much like this desperation to be capable of anything. And that's why she was so willing. But if she started from maybe a younger age, maybe a paladin.
What about you, CB?
I mean, we're kind of cheated with it, but he would have been a warlock instead of a rogue.
Sure.
Because instead of being confused by the power and it being there, he had more of a grasp on it. Having a clear idea of who he was connected to, not knowing why he was connected, but having a clear idea of that. So yeah, he'd probably be a Celestial Eater Warlock.
I got a question for y'all. If and I don't mean that I'm out to get you, which is a weird way to preface the question, but if something kills off your character, what would you make?
Oh, I'm going first because I've thought about this already. Because I play characters and I understand that there's always a possibility of them dying, and wow, Blankiana just happened. Holy hell. But if Manalo dies for good this time, I would love to play either a headhunter or a or a bard. And I tend to actually stay away from playing bards because I am a one in real life. But like, I want to play someone because Tyler Rock was talkative, but he had like a negative in charisma, and there was a level of slight shyness when it came to him. And the Manalo just don't know shit. he too dead for this. But playing someone who's a lot more charismatic would be something I think I'd want. And the bard is really cool.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Bard, possibly for Dai. So I think Bard is also on my radar if Dai goes. But yeah, I've got a couple of ideas. I feel like there's this like child prodigy somewhere inside of me that I could really bring out. I've played like old man father type characters, both with Dai and Gunny. So I kind of want to swing the opposite direction and be like the kid who doesn't know anything about the world, but is here to figure it out and learn as much as possible.
You are TTRPG, Dad.
Well, look, I want you to know that I'm proud of you, Mattia.
What are y'all two?
I would probably. I did want to play a monk at the start of the campaign, but I didn't because I already have one. So, I thought about bringing my playtest character back, Dayal, to be my Kalulua monk.
I feel like if Gaita died, there would be a sense in me of whoever I play next has no backstory. I played a Umilagad warlock in a one shot that we did. I would probably bring Kiko back. Maybe a little less rambunctious as he was in that one shot, but I did really enjoy playing him. Just like a warlock kid who is tied to like this very serious power and is like, yeah, Bakunuma's my mom, basically. So like the opposite of the spectrum of Gaita.
Oh, we got a question of, is there a particular hobby or favorite food that delights your characters? I'm gonna go first and say fishing.
Which character?
All right, let's see. What about you?
Jeez.
I knew it was a setup. I knew it was. I absolutely knew it was. That's okay. That's fine. No, Pilar likes tops.
Does he like bottoms?
Quick, Gaita, write that down. That's ammo. That's ammo. Write it down.
No, shut up. I hate all of you.
I'm sorry, it was right there.
It was, and I should have said Beyblades. Mac, I have disgraced you. I'm sorry.
Look, you just like to see some top spin.
Done.
Yep, who does? Rotate.
Yeah, you like to see him compete.
No.
I'm gonna be honest. Manalo really doesn't have a hobby or a favorite food because in this new life he hasn't created a hobby that he likes for himself or like started a hobby that he likes for himself. Neither intentionally or unintentionally. And yeah, he's not really that tight to food either. So honestly, nothing. He's just the type of person who just sits there. Yeah.
That's fair.
Gaita gardens. That was one of her main traits of her backstory, is that she gardened. So it hasn't come up. But yeah, she has a garden outside her house that she left.
It's probably still there,
I would hope so, but I don't know.
unless I really want to go for that gut punch.
Yeah.
Ah!
Just kill my coconut trees.
That's fair.
Pilar actually, she finds the tanning of leather meditative. Like, she has a certain amount of patience, and it's only when it involves killing things.
Is that what she calls it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
What?
Interesting.
I feel like I missed something.
Don't worry about it. Josh.
Well, I mean, Di obviously likes eating cheese, but that's really just like a thing that he did early on, because it's related to kind of an embarrassing backstory moment with Gaita, and of course you gotta jab at the in-laws whenever you can. So, but I think, honestly, like, his biggest hobby or pastime as this Babylan who's been around for a long time was like entertaining kids. Like I view him as like this kind of perennial entertainer who's just there bringing joy and cheer to those around him. That's like, I had like prepared ahead of the campaign like several like bits that he and Hari would do to like entertain kids, and they've just got these bits prepared, and so anytime like Hari does something like particularly mischievous, I'm always like, that was a good bit that we did. It's been a while since we've done that one, etc. But that was part of why I actually had considered Bard for him, because he's very much actually modeled after this old guy that was at church growing up, who was like 80 years old and running around with all this like little 5 and 6 year old kids, like just like playing games with us, like running around on the playground. And I just remember this guy being like so joyful and childlike, and that's a lot of where my initial idea for Dai came from. It was like this old man who's just a very large child at heart.
We got a question from TWG Gifts, and I'm going to front this one just because there's a weird clause to it, but there is no true form of resurrection in Sina Una. In this world, in this cosmology, when you die, you are acclimated, thanks to the Black River, to being just a spirit without any corporeal form, and you are shunted off into the afterlife that belongs to you, depending on how you lived your life and how you performed. Sometimes people are thrown up with the rest of their ancestors. If you're a warrior, you might run the odds of being in an afterlife where you're just fighting all the time. The afterlife isn't so much heaven and hell reward punishment system. It's more of who you were. Yeah, you'll go somewhere, but there is no real true way to come back. And the only real exception to that is God, but they come back not really themselves. They don't have any memories of who they once were, any connections, any bonds they once had. They have a name and some capabilities, but they're not who they were. And so you can't really know that you yourself are 100% back. So yeah. And I think we covered would you start a new one by answering what would you make, I believe.
I think also though, we can have that moment in Hamilton.
Young, go first. Go for it.
I will say, I can kind of answer this question. Like, Paladin has basically covered the resurrection thing, but I think that if Pilar died, like, depending on how she died, depends on like if she would like accept her death. Like everything that Paladin said, true and factual, but Pilar has an idea of how she will die, how she wants to die. And if it's not the way that I hate it when Paladin does that. If it's not the way she wants to go, she's not going to be happy about it. That's all.
And I was going to say that kind of two things, one smaller, and I'll say that one first. For me, if Manalo were to die, however much I love Manalo, I think this is a chance to really understand this book and understand the setting. So I would want to play something else. I can get as much information and knowledge as possible. It would just mean the story's done. But also I don't know what it would be like when that moment happens. Oh, excuse me. That was a fucking choo-choo whistle. No, like I can't do it right now. But with that being said, there's no way that's written or known. You go to the Black River and what happens from there. Obviously, barbarians have that connection to the Black River and other beings, like the Bylons are connected to spirits and all those things, but like no one really knows or tries to know about necromancy, as Mackenzie kind of hinted as well. But I also don't think that means it doesn't exist. The Celestial Eaters have power, and they can use that power how they need to use that power. The gods have power; they can use that power however they need to use that power.
Power.
The power. So I think it's also one of those, like, obviously this game is this game, and we're playing with two of the creators of the game, plus Mackenzie, because Mackenzie's always there because we love Mackenzie. But if someone else runs this game, it's not saying that it can't happen. It's just how would it make sense if it did happen? Like what is the reason for it? And I think it's interesting to kind of think about those things.
Yeah. I was going to ask, actually, following what you said there, Paladin. So I know that, like, Lance, it has like cleric spells and paladin spells and druid spells, in addition to the ones that you can have, as part of the spells, just in base 5e with the player's handbook. So does that mean that things like Revivify, Raise Dead, etc., just wouldn't work in this setting? If we happen to have someone play a cleric and die, would you be like, Revivify, you can't have that spell? Or like, I'm just curious, like how would you handle that in this world?
I would genuinely treat like resuscitation.
Okay.
Because it's not like you're long since past and you're now
right.
It's like, right.
Can you do that again?
Excellent. Thank you.
But quoting from the book itself, islanders do not seek to extend their lives or cheat death. Instead, they pray for the ability to better understand their own strengths and faults, wanting to live with purpose. Spells that bring back those who have died, like Revivify and True Resurrection, are considered selfish and disrespectful to Sidapa and Magwayan, the gods who govern mortality and the transition to the afterlife. Similarly, reanimating a corpse is deemed an extremely vile, cursed practice. Across the islands, people believe that dead bodies must return to the earth in order for new life to flourish again. Necromancy disrupts this natural process, so it is strictly forbidden. Like other forms of unnatural or eldritch magic, this crime has societal and divine consequences. Creatures like the Moranhig are viewed as abominations that must be destroyed. But Thala is especially unforgiving of these violations, having once punished Mayalupa for tasting the flesh of the dead body. Both deities make it their duty to protect the cycle of life, sending immortals to punish necromancers and hunt down undead. Sidapa, who prefers to observe from a distance, will grant boons to aid any who participate in such noble endeavors. So while I differ from the book, where I can view Revivify in a lighter way, because it is, you're briefly dead, you can come back now. Much like shock pads, which is how I always view Revivify. Things like bringing someone fully back from the dead from the other side of the Black River, those things are by and large really taboo. But going on with what CB said, Aswang's deal are just living taboos. So
I guess. Oh, sorry.
the power could exist in the world. It's just societally and divinely, it is more than frowned upon.
I will not lie to you. And this is not me being like antagonistic. This isn't me. There's always we've all played with that person who like has to do something just to break the game or break the system or like be the antithesis to a game. Like they need that in their core and it's never fun. This isn't that for me, but now I really want to play a necromancer in this world.
Yeah.
I think it would just be very interesting because the world, I mean, that's also when I play tested Manalo, that's something I considered, not necromancy, but I was like, he has come back with a curse that makes him very just abrasive. Like you get a visceral reaction when you see this person, not their physicality, but there is an aura of death and necrosis and just this vile feeling that you get when he's around. So I didn't want him originally to be, not saying I wanted him to like be like the black sheep, but I knew that when he comes into an area, he's not going to be the one they immediately greet. He's going to be the one they kind of shy away from. Because that's just the vibe that he gives. And I think that's kind of cool that he's kind of a walking taboo without actually being a walking taboo. Because obviously Umalagat are fine. Like they know they exist. Him being cursed is another thing. Him walking around with a golden death mask on his face is another thing. But yeah, I knew that he wouldn't be this gung-ho, I'm going to know everyone type of person, walk into an area and just automatically be like received. That's not the vibe that he has. And that's never going to be the vibe that he has, especially now with the Made in the Blood stuff.
Yeah. Umlagad are kind of similar to the moth belief, where there are ancestors visiting us. Umlagad are kind of like this exception because in folklore, they are just spirits of our ancestors inhabiting crocodiles and snakes, making them albino. And so it is like the one exception to, hey, you can come back. And that you put yourself on the you pulled yourself out of the river and walk back into life. The cost though is just you aren't really who you were to the fullest extent. But yeah, whatever goodwill you have over that is kind of just like fucked because like yeah, that golden death mask that you have attached to your face.
Like, and we haven't really covered that much, which has been fine, and there's a lot happening. But like, yeah, it's like at the end of the day, he is walking around with something very, very important just affixed to his face.
Little like what's more fucked is that golden death masks are put over someone's face to block out spirits from possessing a corpse.
And yes,
and you have someone else's.
Someone apparently killed too. Oops.
It's like closing the door behind you as you go through. As you're like, all right, I'm here, and no one else is allowed in.
But someone made it through the door.
Maybe.
That's true.
Sleep over at your friend's house. You exit his home by going through the door. Okay, it's locked. Bye. Let's see here. So yeah, we're kind of reaching the end of our time here, but I guess from all of you, what advice would you have for someone who wants to play in the Islands of Sina Una?
I'm starting. Oh, go ahead.
I just said do it. That's it.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Just do it.
Do it. Ask questions. Do it.
And to go further, especially as a person of color, it's very annoying when melanin deficient individuals see, a setting like this. I see works that are primarily based in a specific culture, and they automatically think they can't do it just because they aren't that. And it's like, no, we never.
The most annoying
that.
question in the world.
Yeah, it's like, and it happens across the board. So it's like, just do it. Be respectful, but you have the setting is here. take this setting and learn it. You don't have to look at this setting with your, I don't know, your POC goggles on. You just have to just play it. It's a setting. It's like you don't sit there and go, oh well, I'm in Barovia, so you know what that means. Like you don't think that. You just play the setting. You just play Ravenloft. Just consider it to be a new setting. That setting comes with its rules and comes with its story and comes with its spells and characters and all these things. Learn that setting, play that setting. That's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna second that. And really, just like, are you concerned about not doing the world justice? Here's one island. All the stuff about how to play one island. There's so much content about what's on this one island. Are you worried you're not going to know how to fill the island? Oh no, there's so many pages of content.
Real quick. Can you go back 3 pages?
Yeah.
Okay,
That one.
okay. The one with that is my mom.
Yo, that's rad. But like, there's more than enough information in here for you to take the world in this book and run it. And if you sit down and you read it, even if you just read one island, right? There's so much that you can do on one island for weeks and weeks of content in game, right? There's cool monsters. There's cool playable options.
I threw a dead Tarsier on one island 2 weeks in.
My boy.
Yeah. There's
My boy.
just so much cool stuff. And like, look, I run a homebrew campaign and I'm pulling monsters out of this book in my homebrew campaign. I'm pulling stuff out of this book because it's really good. Okay. So like, just read it. Like there's a lot of good content in here.
Don't think it's too hard, because a lot of times, like, people fuck up other cultures because they're not willing to actually read what exists. Like, you want to do something and you're like, how do I do it? And the information is all there for you, but you want to take the easy route and go with what you know, when it'll be so much more authentic. It'll be so much better if you just read RTFM. God, read the fucking manual. It's right there. It's all right there. And if something is not there that you can't figure it out, people are like, ask questions. If you are asking in good faith, and I will admit that 9 times out of 10, I always assume people are asking in bad faith because that's the nature of the internet these days. But if you are asking a genuine question, people are going to want to help you. Just fucking ask questions.
Like, just an additional note from me, right? Like, being involved in this campaign, right, and digging into this content has done so much for my appreciation of Filipino culture, right? Like, I went into the campaign 1 of Tampo thinking like, you know, I like know a fair bit about like other cultures. And I was very quickly proven, you know what? I don't know half as much as I thought I did. And there is so much depth of richness that you can get out of even just a casual glimpse through this book. Imagine how much more you could learn about another culture by just sitting down with the book. You don't even have to run it, but just read it. And there's like, I think about so many things differently now after being a part of this campaign, right? Going back to the question CB asked me earlier about being the only like white person in this game, like legitimately, my worldview has changed, right? I have learned so much and I think it's worth it. So go do it. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I get asked this question a lot, and like it's all those things of, you know, take the time, do the work. But like, I look at especially the team that was behind all of it, and that, you know, we were up until 4 a.m. talking to them. I was learning their life stories while writing the deities with them, like, and how CB was talking about earlier, you kind of get to be in this setting and share a culture, even if it doesn't quote unquote like belong to you, or you don't feel like it's for you. The thing about it is that we didn't make it for just us. Because if we did, I mean, you'd be missing out on all of this work and all of this time and all of this love that all of these people poured into it. And, you know, like I said earlier, a lot of people are like, oh, you're the GOAT because you brought it into the industry and you're putting a spotlight on it. And that's the best part about it, is that, you know, I got to give my team something to put on their resume that they could be really proud of. I got to see all of them be able to say that they were professionals and really like make it stick and make it worth it, and make all of these big companies that are looking at these settings and these things, you know, if we did it with an Indiegogo campaign and a couple of people working on it. I was 18 when I started this project. So if I can do it, and I can run this team, and we can run this team, and we can run this campaign, there's really no excuse for anyone else not to. Like, the respect in itself is giving us the chance. So, you know, reading, purchasing it, like whatever it is, however you want to interact with Sinuna, like, it's a really good book. It's a really good setting, and there are really, really good people behind it. So,
Yeah.
and if you want to ask a question about it, like, tag me on Twitter. I see everything. I don't have an issue answering people. Just don't email me about it. Just tag me on Twitter. Tweet at me. Don't write me an email. Emails are a whole separate thing. But genuinely, if you want to ask a question about it, tweet at me. Like, I love this project, and I will continue to love it. I will continue to love talking about it, answering questions about it. And as much as it might pain me and the people working on it to research cheese, like, there's also something really special about that. So put in the work. I mean, we did. That's my advice.
I'll close all this down with just this. Sometimes I see people, sometimes I get the question of, isn't this exclusionary to people who aren't Filipino? And for that, I gotta say no, because I never had that thought in my head. Working on this book, I was very, very selfish. Because when Lucia messaged me to work on this book, I thought, yeah, I could use a quick job. Clearly things have kind of escalated from there. But the entire time I was working on this book, I was really figuring myself out, and I never had a place in my heart while working on this to think of spite or hate. Quote, reading from this foreword that I wrote for the book, Sina Una is a product of love, made to be shared and enjoyed, made to be learned from. From it we hope not to bear any poison, ill will, or ill intent, but to instead rejoice in a celebration of our heritage, no matter how distant to it we once were. There is a place between the dry fact and the tourist lie, and that place the fantastical representation, where our myth is alive and well, where the stories of our parents and grandparents and ancestors come to being, and where we can craft from it a world that others can love as well. It is from love that the greatest things can be made, where the lost can be found, and where the diaspora can learn about their homeland. Beyond shame, beyond fear, beyond pettiness, beyond hatred, beyond resentment. It is where Sina Una lies. I hope you enjoy it. I was a real complete fucking loser when Lucia met me. I never had it in my head to ever be spiteful work on this. And this book has never been made to be spiteful towards people, unless you're Ferdinand Magellan.
Fuck Magellan.
Fuck Magellan. That in mind, let's go around and do outros. Josh, who are you and what do you do?
Hello, my name is Josh. I can be found on the internet at Joshua M. Simons across pretty much every social media platform, and here at Joshua Simons on Twitch. I am a freelance tabletop game designer, a variety streamer on my own channel, and I am the assistant director of ambassadors at Jasper's Game Day. Speaking of which, our ambassador applications are open for one more week. If you would like to come and work with me and represent Jasper's, feel free to come apply. All that to say, it is an absolute delight to be here with y'all. I have so much pride being a member of this cast. So thank you for letting me join y'all. And I'm going to toss it to Latia.
How dare you? I can't catch. Hi, everybody. I'm Latia. I am the community relations coordinator for Monty Cook Games. I am a freelance tabletop writer sometimes. I'm a variety streamer sometimes. I do too much, but not as much as some people in this cast. You can find me on Twitter at Latia Jacquise. Next week, if you are braving the wilds of Indianapolis, you can find me at Gen Con. Wow. That's a thing I just said. Oh boy.
The wilds of Indianapolis.
The wilds of Indianapolis.
Coming to Kickstarter this fall.
It is a very wild place.
The wilds are alive with the sound of Gen Con.
Right? We're going to Waffle House, bitches. That's the closest Waffle House to me is the ones in Indiana. But regardless,
Waffle House exists in a permanent city of 2 a.m. regardless of what time it is outside.
This is true. Waffle House is a liminal space. But it has been a fantastic blast to be a part of this cast for 2 seasons. I told Paladin that I'd be in anything he ran, so here I am. He's stuck with me, and he can't escape. Good luck. You can't. I love you all. Hashtag fuck Magellan, and CB, take it away.
Yeah, hashtag. Hi, my name is Omega Jones, also known as the Critical Bard across all social media channels. Yeah, I love this setting and I love this group, and I can't wait to do more, and I can't wait to see what happens next, because there's a lot that's starting to happen and break down, and we got a long time. We'll see. I'm personally waiting for the day where we do a crossover episode where the cast of D4 and the cast of Tampo like switch, or we just like get commingled somehow. We figured out.
I'm gonna fuck them up. Between you and me, I'm gonna fuck them up so much.
Good.
Between you and me and this cast, Dustin and Devin is going to destroy us too.
Only the DMs win in this situation.
Yes, only the DMs win.
It's true.
Anywho, yeah, I do way too much. What's today for us? Friday. Tomorrow, let's get wild out on my channel. Sunday, Dungeons and Durags over on I Need Diverse Games. Monday, Curse of Strahd, Into the Mist with the Realmsmith. Wednesdays, Dice Ex Machina on Saving Throw Show. Something else that Josh might mention. Yeah, I'm doing way too much, y'all. There's other things I can't even talk about yet. Yeah, that's me. I do want to end with a quote from our friends at D4, which is, be excellent to each other, and may you always roll with advantage.
Be
Party on, dudes!
Party on, dude.
Yeah. Get your merch over there. Okay, I'm done. Lucia.
Hi, I'm Lucia, also known as Seer Sword all over the internet. I think I started saying that because that's what CB says. And I'm sorry. I do that.
You gotta get yourself out there.
I run a little store. It's called seersword.com. I've been doing a lot of stock dice on there, which are dice that I handpick from my factory, and I put them in my store because I like the way that they look, and it is an excuse for me to keep more dice in my house. I just put up a new design today, so if you like skulls and chain and all that emo stuff, pick up that set.
I wonder who here likes skulls.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Some
Personal attack on someone.
Well, what else? Oh, on Mondays I do a fun little show with Josh on his channel where we make things. We paint things sometimes. It's abomination day for me on that channel, on that show. So come watch that. Otherwise, yeah, I'm most active on Twitter, so follow me there. I totally forgot to post that I was uploading a new design on Instagram. So if you're following me there and you're not following me on Twitter, maybe you should follow me on Twitter. And yeah, just I'm really glad that I got to join the cast this season. It's really wild to play in a setting that was my first setting that I made, and it is so large, and I love it so much. And to have Paladin be my DM because they're cool and I love you as like a big brother. Internet, okay.
People assume we're married. It's disgusting.
Paladin, we love you and shit.
I need you to stop that.
Yeah, but I do love you for real.
Hi, I'm HTT Paladin, otherwise known as Paladin. You can find me on Twitter under HT Paladin. I'm a TTRPG designer, writer, and layout artist. I'm working on so many things, and I can speak about none of them, and I hate that. I'm gonna leave. We're gonna go raid Trooper SJP, but before we go, I'm gonna answer one last question. Heavy Benny, the reason why Pilar's art is so fantastic is because Latia went, "Hey, can you base it off me and my hair?" And I told the artist, "Yeah, can you base it off of her and her hair? Because Latia is beautiful and gorgeous." All right,
I'm leaving.
Plus one.
Bye, no.
Plus one.
We're gonna go raid Trooper SJP. See y'all in 2 weeks. I'll be at Gen Con next week giving away some hardcovers. Cena Una hardcovers are now shipping. Bye.